thanking all of you for coming, for being a part of this press briefing. We think it is timely that we come to the press at this point in time to provide some updates and briefing in regards to the running of the Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission. Particularly, we have only 3 things to share with you. This is going to be a rather short conference, provided that the questions do not elicit further explanations from my side. But if it doesn't, this is going to be a rather short conference. I'd like to start out by thanking His Excellency Dr. George Manenwia for the confidence reposed in us to serve as Vice Chairperson of the Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission. It is no small feat for someone at my age and with my level of experience in this country. I think it's a monumental effort. I think it demonstrates that President Weah believes in young people, people who are prepared and can lead. And that is why I sit here today, and I'm very thankful to him for the confidence. Like I said before, there are only 3 things I want to share with you today, and hopefully be able to take some questions. The first thing I'd like to share is that the Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission is alive and well. And I'd like to repeat that. The Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission is alive and well. I believe that over the last few days, there's been a media uproar and there's been a lot of chatter in the media regarding the LSCC being unstable. There are internal wrangling, people are fighting, there are accusations and counter-accusations. I want to say that I think those information you find in the media has been deliberately deployed by people who want to create the impression that the LSCC is imploding, that the LSCC is misfiring, that the LSCC lacks capacity, and therefore there has to be some kind of intervention. I'd like to make it emphatically clear in this briefing that government is continuity. Honorable Ndibwisi Wabudiki voluntarily resigned on the 26th of February. In his communication to the president, he intimated that his presence here probably would have served as an impediment to the president's anti-corruption goal, and thus he left. As a function of continuity, the commission remains, and the business of the commission continues. So no issues regarding the functions of the commission have been impeded. Employees are coming to work as per the time they've been taxed before. They are going about their normal function. As a matter of fact, today I just held a meeting with the head of the enforcement division of the LSCC, and we're currently discussing how to continue the great work that the LSCC has done. So in essence, what am I saying? I'm saying that contrary to what is out there in the press, where it is being sought to portray that the LSCC is imploding, is untrue. It is by design. It is propaganda. People want to target the LSCC and to disable it. But if you've watched in the past few days, a number of issues that have arrived as a result of anti-corruption efforts, both prosecutorial as well as restitutional, then it tells you that this commission is capacitated and is working. And nothing will change in the coming days as we move forward. That is the first point we hope to make. The second point we hope to make through this press briefing is that, consistent with Section 6.1 of the Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission Act, which provides for the leadership of the commission, it specifically states that in the absence of the executive chairperson, the vice chairperson shall act as executive chairperson of the commission and will perform all functions associated with that office. Therefore, in further explanation, it means that the vice chairperson becomes, in essence, acting chairperson, executive chairperson of the Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission, exercising full function duties as are reposed in that office, effective in the absence of the chairperson. I'd like to inform you, by virtue of the fact that we are the current vice chairperson of this honorable commission, we have exercised the law by operation of law, by automatic operation of law. We have become acting executive chairperson of the commission. As a matter of fact, we have begun taking certain administrative decisions we believe that are in line with moving the commission forward, moving the commission away from all of this noise that is in the public sphere, and to begin to rebrand the commission in the new era that moves ahead. Until at such point in time when His Excellency Dr. Weah will appoint an executive chairperson, and the Senate will confirm such person as appointed by His Excellency Dr. Weah. The work of the commission will continue, and we will act as executive chairperson consistent with law provisions contained in the LACC Act. And that's the second point I like to make. And I think the second point further supports the first aspect. People claim there is a resignation. People claim that there are accusations, and therefore there is no leadership. There are laws, we have structures here, we have a secretariat here, manned by very, very capable people, 3 divisions that are doing their job. As we speak, the Public Education Division is working with the African Development Bank, is working with other international organizations to implement programs. Those programs have not come to a halt, and we'd like to reassure our partners that those programs will not come to a halt, because transitioning in institutions happen on a daily basis, both in the public and private sector. It does not mean that the institution grinds to a halt. It has not ground to a halt. The LACC is here to stay. We have therefore assumed our role as acting chairperson of the commission, and part of this briefing is to begin to engage with you and to make it regular that we can share these kinds of information. And that's the second point I'd like to share. The third thing I'd like to share with you is that we take cognizance of spurious, groundless, factless allegations that have been levied against our person for political reasons, and we are aware of why they were levied. However, we are professional people, and we operate within a professional entity, an entity whose mandate clearly states that confidentiality is key, that reputations are important, that even an accused has rights. And therefore, before you seek to scandalize another person, you afford them due process, the opportunity to present their case, to be vindicated or to be culpable. We are aware of that. Without following those procedures, we have such allegations labeled liberally against us in the public sphere. We have chosen to be deliberate not to respond to them because we are professionals. As professionals, there are ways in which such issues are resolved. They are resolved by unbiased fact-finding or whatever quasi-judicial processes that establish what has transpired. And to that end, I'd like to applaud the Center for Transparency and Accountability in Liberia. I remember that, recall rather that yesterday they did a press conference and they've called for an impartial investigation into those spurious and false allegations promoted mainly by politics and mainly by personal aggrandizement. So at any point in time, we stand ready at the behest of the President and other structures of government that have oversight for this honorable commission to appear, to provide reasons, to clear our name. Because over the course of 40 years we have lived in this country. Since 2004, I have held a paying job. Not plenty of money, but I was paid. And I've worked consistently since that time. My reputation is very dear to me. And anyone who knows me, without even having to break a sweat, will tell you that allegations against my person are impossible. They cannot happen. Not a Kanio Gbala. And as a result of that, that's what we've come to say to those who know us, to those who follow us, to those who idolize us and respect us, that such things that you hear are untrue. They are manufactured. But we also understand that the person who brings this allegation is not bringing it on his own. It's just a tool. And so we'll overlook the tool and we'll deal with the bigger issues. The bigger issues are people want to discredit this commission because they are not here. People want to discredit this commission because they want to fight the anti-corruption agenda of this government. People want to discredit this commission so that it appears that we are doing nothing against the fight against corruption. Whereas since our appointment here in the last 1 year, we have achieved a lot. We have held the first anti-corruption conference with support from government. We have gone on to propose legislative changes that will allow us to more vigorously fight corruption. We have sent them to the legislature. We have had convictions in the superior court of our nation by our actions. Of course people don't like that. Of course people don't want us to discuss these things. And therefore, they seek through ulterior means by people who are planted in government entities to specifically undermine the mandate of these entities. And we understand where it comes from. But again, like I said, in a process such as this, it is only appropriate that we allow the fact-finding process to unfold and the chips to fall where they may. But one thing we can assure every one of you about is that our integrity will remain intact no matter what kind of fact-finding process is instigated whatsoever. So there you have it. Those are the three things I wanted to share with you. And in closing, I'd like to say to the Liberian people that the business of fighting corruption, as the mandate of this commission, continues. But we also like to point out that corruption fights back. When you fight it and when you make gains, as we made over the last few weeks, they will come back to fight you. And they will find those who they believe are effective in fighting, and they will seek to tear you down and bring you down. Corruption is fighting back. But I assure you, it will not win. To the partners who work with us, who provide support to us, we like to reassure them. Again, in the media, we've heard all kinds of mudslinging, fictitious groups coming out say they're campaigning, people holding bogus press conferences that have been paid for. We're aware of those things. But again, in anti-corruption doctrine, in Liberia, we haven't even arrived at the dangerous point where lives are threatened. I've had my life threatened in the last few days. I was threatened. My family was threatened that I will pay by blood. What have I done to merit threats to my life? Simply because I stood up for what was right. But this is the job that, this is what comes with the job that we've opted to perform. And so we're not moved. We're not moved by all of those threats. We're not moved by the character assassination. We're not moved by the paid propaganda. We like to reassure our partners in the press that the business of fighting corruption here will continue. And so you in the press, we like to say to you, our doors are open. When some of these allegations were made against us, most of the reports carried, we tried to reach, but we could not get, we could not reach the person in time, so we went to press. That's fine. Maybe you try to reach. But it's always good to hear from the other side. Because reputations, when defamed, are very hard to reclaim. And some of us are in a position now where 40 years of what we work for is taking a day for political reasons and self-aggrandizement to slander. But we will not waver. The work will continue. In our capacity as acting chairperson, we ensure that this commission is accessible to all of you at any point in time. Our activities are open. Feel free to come here and ask us what we are doing, how we're going about our business, and absolutely nothing will change. Again, we'd like to thank the President for his confidence, and we'll continue to steer this institution until at such point in time when he decides what kind of leadership is required here, and the Senate confirms whomever is selected to lead this institution. I'll stop on this note, and I'll take a few questions, and then we can conclude. Thank you.
And so the councillor will address questions by institution. There will be one question from each institution.
Yeah. My name is Ada Luis and I work for Fabric. I want to know that with all the allegations against you now, how do you feel sitting at the helm of LCC?
I feel proud. I feel energetic. I was prepared, trained, and engaged and brought to this position with experience to deliver. We'll go ahead and deliver. We stand accused for what is the legal doctrine of criminality. Accusations are merely accusations. We must go into a fact-finding process and establish the veracity of those accusations. And therefore, I say to you, the work will continue. I have no other feeling other than the fact that we must steer this commission forward.
Okay, just a follow-up. My name is Clement Touria, report for Cool 91.9. In furtherance to our question, many in the public have said that you need to resign because it has to do with integrity issue, like you have been done in other Western countries. Would you mind to respond to that?
Now, the question of resignation is in line with culpability, and I'll explain, right? When you claim that someone is culpable, that means you carry them through a process and you adjudge them guilty. Isn't that so? Have I been investigated? No. Is there any pending investigation against me as we speak? No. There have been calls for investigation. What is my position? I welcome them. In the meantime, we will do our jobs. The laws of our country provide that we shall not divest a man of life, liberty, or property without due process. Therefore, as I've been appointed to this position by the direction of the President, respectfully so, we'll execute our mandate until at such point in time, any such thing can be proven. And we know without a doubt that where these allegations come from, they are groundless and factless, and they won't be proven. Thank you.
Yeah, so my name is Emmanuel Colley. I report for KMTV. The institution that you had, the LCC, is an independent body that prosecutes whoever that is culpable when it comes to the law. One may be asking as to what's your independence when every time you are dining and whining with the president and you held inside an institution?
Well, I don't know what you mean by whining and dining. The last time I checked, I have not. If you mean the LSCC or you mean me in particular, I have not whined or dined with the president. So I invite you to provide evidence that I wine and dine or I have wined and dined with the president. That is factually untrue.
You are a member of the CDC.
Yeah.
Can you recently-
Go ahead.
You are a member of the CDC. I come with this. You are a member of the CDC, and someone may question your independence as acting head of this institution.
Again, you made another factually incorrect statement. I am not a member of the CDC. The last time I had membership in a political party, I was a member of the Liberty Party. Upon my appointment by
How did you feel when you got the information from one of your startups on the basis that you are engaged in the days $500 were given to you to ensure information and they supply it and this and that? How did you feel? Did you feel staff in the bank? Did you regret? And how currently the working relationship between you and the individual?
Well, the thing is, there was a feeling of pity, if you ask me. Pity, not for me, but for the individual in question. Because in this professional space that we occupy, we all work so very hard to get to where we are. And sometimes, you know, there's this analogy they call the duck analogy. You see the duck sitting on the river, it's moving nicely, you see it moving slowly, but you don't see what happened underneath. That's how some of us have arrived where we are today. But people don't recognize that. They think these things are bequeathed to us. And therefore, they take actions without thinking about the impact or the effect of what they're doing. So what did I feel? I felt utter pity for the gentleman. Pity in the sense that he probably thinks he should be here. Why me? Why that small picking, as they say? But again, this picking possesses the confidence of the president, and he is prepared, educated, and he can execute the mandate. That's why he sits here. People need to understand that these things will happen, and if they do, we won't have these kinds of problems. As to how the commission moves forward,
What's your relationship between the both of you now?
well,
You are the acting executive chairperson.
yes, I've only assumed this role as of the last 2 days. I'm still reviewing documentation to understand the position of the organization around certain things that have been done over the last 2 months. So it's still early to make a comment in that direction. But suffice to say that we are professionals. And that's what we, you know, that's how we present ourselves, that's how we guide ourselves. Everything we do will be guided by a professional code. How we engage will be guided by a professional code. If there are administrative decisions to be taken, they'll be taken in line with a professional code. And there'll be substantial reasons to support why we take those decisions.
All right, my name is Edward Taban from ELPC and LNTP. So I want to know what the state of the commission when it comes to fighting corruption. I mean, not just because you just come in, but over time since you've been here as deputy, how far are you now with the fight against corruption as it regards to LACC?
Well, I would just ask you to, again, because we're supposed to be professional people, right? And the way we present information should be presented dispassionately, not as if we are antagonizing a particular group of people for any reason. No, we should not do that. It should be on the basis of we're just doing our jobs. That's why we don't come to press conferences to say we've indicted somebody or we submitted a report with somebody, so that it cannot be seen as some kind of information spree you're trying to run against a person's integrity. No. But you're the journalist. What are the conversations happening over the last 2 weeks around the fight against corruption? You know them. And of course, they fight back. That is why we are where we are. So yes, in the fight against corruption, since we've been here over the last 1 year, I think we've done tremendously well in 1 year as compared to since 2008 when this commission was birthed. And I believe it is because we are now poised to move on to greater things. That is why this whole idea of discrediting the commission is serious. That's why people are taking it serious. But as we normally say, it's occupational hazard. Certain jobs you take the risk that go along with it.
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Ibrahim Sharif and I report for the Liberia News Agency. Initially, you mentioned about threat coming against your life and that of members of the family. Firstly, have you reported this to the police?
Yes, I have had, I've not done a formal communication. Like I said, I've only started as executive chairperson, so I wanted to settle in, understand what is going on here, and put myself in a position to prepare a briefing on the state of affairs. Because what is happening, that's what we're having this briefing right now. What is happening now are deliberate attempts by people to say that the LACC is disintegrating. My first mandate here is to emphasize and to portray very clearly that there is no disintegration yet. This institution is on its 2 feet, it is standing, it has staff, people are working as they ought to work. There is a leadership here, right? Now, to the threat to my life, I will prepare the relevant communication because for me, I know at any point in time I can protect myself. But I have 2 young children. My daughter is 11, my son is 7. I cannot allow my family to be exposed to harm on account of the work that I do. So those threats that were made to my life, blood for blood, I'm preparing a formal communication to the Liberia National Police so that folks who made those threats against my life can answer. The records are there.
Do you know some of those guys are threatening your family?
Again, I don't want to prejudice the case, as is the case where you see I'm not going into many other details. Who have threatened us is so they will answer to those threats to my person.
So my name is Marka Davis from Sugarfam. My concern is about you continue to give the public assurance of how prepared the LCC is in terms of delivering its mandates, and you also continue to say there are people planted within the institution who are trying to disintegrate. You are just assuming as acting head of this institution. What are your plans to ensure that you either reconcile or that apples out?
Well, we do have those plans. And the first thing we're going to do in the coming weeks is that one of the things that was done in the early days of this commission is that we assembled, and I say we, not because I was here, but because the institution existed before. We assembled a number of professional documentation around how we should conduct ourselves as employees and staff of this commission. Key amongst those, confidentiality. Let's assume, I missed the name, but let's assume you are accused of corruption, or someone comes and tells us, let's investigate Amos, for example, right? And we commission an investigation. I am under the policies of this commission to maintain extreme confidentiality until at such point in time I conclude investigation of Amos and I find him either culpable or not. If not, Amos goes his merry way. If culpable, we take the necessary administrative action to begin to move the case either by restitution or by prosecution. Those are policies that are in this institution that we hold sacrosanct, that we should hold sacrosanct.
Are they being violated here?
Well, you be the judge. Over the last few days, what has transpired on the grounds of this institution is a travesty of monumental proportions. Because of politics, people believe that it is about Kanio Gbala. But let's hazard a guess. If an employee of this institution has the ability to name any public figure in our country, basis of accusations, and hold a press conference on the grounds of the institution without the launch of a formal investigation, without any finding against that person, how do we build trust that this is not a witch hunt we're running in
Why
this
such
place?
action warrant?
I'm saying that administratively, we're looking to what ought to be done. We are not retributionary, but we rather will operate within the confines of professional conduct. There are a number of policies on the books on what ought to be done,
Just one question.
and we exercise those.
Okay, in your statements, you talked about not going after those who, according to you, are being paid by individuals to come on to you, but rather you are going to deal with those who are paying people to come against you. How do you aim to do that?
Well, I didn't say I would deal. You know, the words have connotations in this country. Historically, dealing with people does not carry a very positive connotation. No, I have no business. I'm not trying to deal with anybody. No. All right? We're just trying to do a professional job. right? We're just trying to ensure that we can strengthen the policy in this institution, because the question here is, for you to have an effective anti-corruption commission, you need confidence of the public. Who will have confidence of this commission that anything said here is protected? Mind you, we are the repository of asset declaration of people who are in government positions, private declarations. Who will remain confident that what they've put in this commission is not lying somewhere else? How do you build that confidence? It is important that we begin to abide by these rules and deal with them. That's what we're saying. So no, we're not planning to deal with them, but in the period leading to when His Excellency Dr. Weah decides who will lead this commission, and upon that confirmation, in that intervening period, it is our responsibility to ensure that the rules, the policies, the guidelines that created this institution are adhered to, and staff will adhere to them. Probably might have to do a refresher training, have some of them run through. Maybe people are getting hazy, they're forgetting what those things they signed. We all sign confidentiality contracts and stuff of that nature. We sign them, and people willingly break them for political reasons, political aggrandizement, as I said before. So we probably need to revisit and let people understand what an anti-corruption commission is supposed to do. So no, we're not trying to deal with anybody. We just want to do what is right and what is proper.
So I'm a little bit confused. This the confidentiality contract you're talking about, is it to protect what you do in here as professionals, or is it about protecting other people's out there confidentiality?
It is both. And let me do a little bit of tampering with the law, right? There is a presupposition of innocence on everybody. You follow? In other jurisdictions, they presuppose culpability, that you're guilty when you are accused. In our jurisdiction, we presuppose innocence. If I accuse you of something, the burden is on me to prove that you are guilty. That's why even when you work in a private entity and they accuse you of stealing, they can dismiss you, they can suspend you, right? Or they can say you'll be on the job and we'll investigate the conditions that are there. And if they don't find you culpable, you'll be returned to what? Isn't that so? So, if you don't operate with extreme confidentiality in a society as ours, where people run with information for their own reasons, political reasons, people got private issues against you, and the minute it is uttered, it becomes gospel without verification. The LSCC should not be in the position of rubbishing people's reputation when they have not concluded investigation or found anyone culpable. What if we now start to investigate other people? Everything will be said, no, we can't trust those people. So we need to bring back that confidence. And that is what over the next few days, few weeks, whatever how long it takes that we occupy this position, that is what we're going to do.
So member of the press, thank you so much for